All right, y'all. So Power episode 9, season 3. It is off and running to the races. We see Tommy, man, he's at the church. He has Kilo's body, the other guy, his brother JB. He tells him, man, listen, treat my brother right. The other two, just disintegrate those brothers, ass to ass, dust to dust. Tommy's emotional, you can tell D-Mac is very wanting out for revenge. D-Mac is angry. And it off to rolling. Kate is of course there, and you're seeing Kate really affected by that. Kate and JB really did have a genuine connection, and I think JB really was a very positive influence on Kate into becoming a better person. I think because JB really loved her, and unlike Tommy being exposed to the toxicity of her, JB had such a different look on him and on her. And so I think JB was such a positive influence on Kate, and I think that's why she took it so hard. Maria, I think it's kind of like in that, is this too dangerous? Because a lot is happening right now, and it's really intense. Tommy is kind of like, oh man, why did you call my mom? And Marie's like, she deserves, to mourning her son. Her son has passed, and so she's like, she deserves, to mourn her son, which is true. And Tommy, reluctantly has to agree, that is the right thing to do, even though he doesn't want to do it. And so we see D-Mac and Tommy, not D-Mac, but Jannard and Diamond. Diamond is banging the Felton Club. And Jannard's like, I told you not to do that. And then he tells him what he did. Diamond is like, bro, what in the world are you doing? You trying to start World War III. So Jannard comes up with this crazy plan to get Tommy killed and change up their plug. So they're leaving Che. They're going to old dude. And Che yanks up Tommy. Che's like, hey, y'all didn't disobey my orders. Y'all got to pay. Tommy's like, yo, we got the word on the street that CBI is leaving you, and they're going to the cartel. That means you're high and dry. And so Che's like, killed him. All right, so Che's not a proponent of war because he believes that's bad for business, but because these brothers have betrayed him, he's sending Tommy and Miguel to be the hitman. But the caveat was he wasn't gonna let Miguel go until he came up with that bread because Che wanted his money. So Shotzi goes over there, meets with Che, and Che's kind of impressed by her presentation, but says, don't come back here unless you have Tommy. Che's very, 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 very careful of a guy. And so we find out, that the mole that Chauncey has, old dude that came and made her in the last episode, he's like, man, I heard you and Jannard are done. What up with me and you? My man was about to slide in. He's like, oh, you and Chauncey ain't here? Hey, Chauncey, what up, though? So he proving his loyalty right there. He's giving her all the tips, So Diamond kind of sees out like, we got a mole in the camp. He said, that's the only way they would know. There's a mole in the camp. And so they're at that church, and they have a great moment between Diamond and Jannard. And just the caveat, this is good acting. This is really, really good acting by the guy who plays Diamond and Jannard. And it's so genuine. There's certain scenes and moments in series. Will and his dad and Uncle Phil scene. There's certain scenes that are really powerful. This really might have been the most powerful scene in all of the Power universe. Just really, really stellar acting in this final 8 minutes of the episode. And Jannard really shows his skill. That dude really shows his character is such a complex character that you really, really got to know how to act. And he's been the glue of the whole of this whole series. He has definitely been the best actor in the whole series. But just knocks it out the park. And there was a part of me that was like, is Jannard gonna betray Diamond because his character's so wishy-washy? But you see that admiration of when Diamond's like, I should have never let the white boy get in there, and all these different things, man. And so you can see that like it meant a lot to Jannar. You can see that meant a lot to Diamond and that family, that brotherhood. And it really goes all the way back to when their dad died. I think that was a seed that got planted. And of course, there was some manipulation by Jannar. But I do think when their father died, that I felt there was like a sense that Diamond wanted to be closer to Jannar. And so Tommy and them come in there and bust up and start shooting. And I mean, and they're in like a church. They're in a cathedral. And they are laying it in. D-Mac gets hit. And because D-Mac, he don't think. D-Mac don't think. D-Mac just thinks gangster stuff is just, you just do. He that young dude just shoot first and just, just out there, man. He ain't looking. He ain't paying attention. He ain't stooping down. He ain't covering up. D-Mac he young and dumb. He got a lot of young and dumb movements, and he's just open exposed. Jannar sees it. Jannar pops him in the shoulder one good time. I think Chauncey pulls him out. Tommy goes and retaliates with gunshots. Diamond steps in and saves Jannar's life. And Diamond had earlier met with Tommy, was like, bro, I can't let you kill my brother. He said, listen, y'all can have your side, I have our side, and we can operate, we can flow. Tommy was like, man, scratch that. We can still build and work together. And man, we can have the city, we can have the Midwest. And now we got the Miguel. I can bring my connect, you bring yours. All I want is Jannar. And Diamond couldn't do it. He's like, that's my brother. I can't do it. And so, Diamond chose family over this war. And I mean, and Tommy's thing is, your brother killed mine, I'll kill your brother. It's a fair trade. That's the way Tommy was looking at it. And so, Diamond gets shot. And once again, Jannar signs these last 8 minutes and just really provides one of the best performances out of all the Power series. And just a still, I'm a really big fan of the Jannar character because it's a complex character. To the point, I would love to see a Jannar and Diamond prequel of CBI. I think there's some legs to that story. How Diamond gets into jail, then Jannar takes over. I mean, there's legs to that story. And I think people will be interested in that story. I think that could be one of the, I know they're doing a prequel with Tommy and Ghost, but I think with After Force, that could be another prequel. I think that could be another prequel. And because as they were explaining their a little bit of their backstory, what we've heard throughout the series, it's an interesting story. You know what I'm saying? His Diamond was selfish. He said, I brought you in this game and you weren't built for this. I was. You could have made it. It's like, the boys in the hood, like, you could have made it, but I was selfish. I wanted you close to me. And so this was a phenomenal episode. I think this might have been one of the best episodes of the series, not just of the season, but of the series. It's a great episode going into episode 10, which is next Friday, and seeing how we're going to end this series. So come on, we're back here. We got more exclusive content about Power and Force and all things of that.